Once upon a time, in the distant kingdom of Eldoria, there ruled a tyrant king named Lord Malachite. His rule was characterized by cruelty, oppression, and a complete disregard for the well-being of his subjects. The once thriving kingdom had now fallen into despair, and the people lived in constant fear of their merciless ruler. In the heart of the capital city, there existed a slave named David, whose wisdom and intelligence were renowned throughout the land. David had a keen understanding of politics, diplomacy, and the needs of the people. Despite his lowly status, his insights were sought after by many who believed he held the key to easing the suffering inflicted by King Malachite. One day, the whispers of David's wisdom reached the ears of the king. Intrigued, but also threatened by the slave's intelligence, King Malachite summoned David to his grand palace. The slave was brought before the throne, shackled and humble, yet his eyes sparkled with a glint of defiance. "Slave, they say you possess knowledge that could benefit the realm. Speak, and I may consider sparing your miserable life," the tyrant king sneered.
The silent rebellion, King Ealdred, the tyrant king who rules with an iron fist and dismisses advice from anyone, especially slaves. David, a courageous slave who dares to speak his mind. "David, my lord, may I have a moment of your time?" King Ealdred, dismissively. "Speak quickly, slave. I have little patience for your kind."
David, despite his dire circumstances, spoke with eloquence and grace.
"David, my lord, I have noticed that the people suffer under your rule. The taxes are too high, and the lands are barren. The kingdom is withering away." King Ealdred sat on his ornate throne, adorned with gold and jewels, in the grand hall of the palace. The air was heavy with tension as his subjects bowed before him, afraid to meet his gaze. David, a weary slave with a determined spirit, approached the throne, hesitating only briefly before addressing the king.
Offering the king counsel on how to rule justly, promote prosperity, and ensure the loyalty of his subjects. "You dare lecture me, a king, on how to rule? You, a mere slave!" roared King Malachite, his eyes burning with fury.
"I make decisions based on power and strength, not the whining of peasants." King Ealdred laughs arrogantly. "What would a lowly slave like you know about ruling a kingdom?"
However, King Malachite, consumed by his own arrogance and thirst for power, dismissed every piece of advice with a disdainful wave of his hand. David, undeterred by the king's anger, continued to speak truth to power.
"David, my lord, I beg you to reconsider. The people are your strength. Their well-being ensures the stability of your reign."
He emphasized the importance of compassion, empathy, and fairness in leadership. He pleaded with the king to consider the consequences of his actions and the suffering he was inflicting upon the kingdom.
King Ealdred, scornfully, "You overstep your bounds, slave. Do you think you can lecture me on governance?" David, boldly, "I speak not for myself, but for the kingdom. Your subjects are not your enemies. They are your allies. If you continue to ignore their suffering, you risk rebellion." King Ealdred, angered, "Rebellion? You dare threaten me, slave?" David, "No, my lord, I only wish to advise you for the greater good of the realm. A wise ruler listens to the counsel of those who see the kingdom from different perspectives." King Ealdred laughs. "Wise ruler? I am the ruler because I know what is best. Your words mean nothing." David, defiantly, "My lord, history is filled with the downfall of kings who refuse to heed the warnings of their people. I fear the same fate awaits you." King Ealdred, visibly angered, "Enough! Your insolence will not go unpunished. Guards, take this slave away." David was dragged away, but the spark of defiance remained in his eyes as King Ealdred continued to rule with an iron fist. A silent rebellion simmered among the people. The kingdom stood on the precipice of change, with the words of a daring slave echoing in the hearts of those who longed for a better future.
The tyrant king, blinded by his own ego, grew increasingly enraged. In a fit of fury, he ordered David to be thrown into the darkest dungeons, determined to silence the voice of reason that dared challenge his authority. As David languished in the cold, damp cell, the kingdom continued to crumble under King Malachite's tyrannical rule. The people suffered, and discontent festered like a disease. In the shadows, a growing resistance began to take shape, fueled by the knowledge and wisdom that David had imparted to a few trusted allies. In the end, the tyrant king's refusal to heed the advice of a humble slave led to his downfall. The people, inspired by David's teachings, rose up against their oppressor, and a new era of justice and compassion dawned upon the once doomed kingdom of Ealdred. David, though imprisoned for a time, became a symbol of resilience and the enduring power of wisdom over tyranny. Thanks if you still watch up to here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel.
Remains in the hearts of the people, breaking free from chains. The kingdom shifts in a silent revolt, a story of courage in the chapters untold. A silent rebellion in the grand hall's gloom, the slave's defiance against impending doom. The kingdom weeps in the tyrant's ring, yet in Soren's words, a spark of flame.